Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Big Reset Conversation. In this series of interviews, we explore what are the new ways of doing things after the global slowdown as a result of the coronavirus outbreak. Today, I have a very special topic and a guest. With Lumobila Jordanova, the founder of Plan A, we will be discussing the interlinks between COVID 19, climate change, the role of technology, and all that. And the new normal, which will, as we already see, be a bit more sustainable and with a bit more social impact flavor. Without further ado, I want to say hi to Lucy and thank you for taking time today.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a great pleasure to be here.
How are you doing in Berlin? Are you there now?
Yeah, I'm in Berlin. It's nice, nice and sunny, and we're in lockdown for the last 6 weeks. We've been working from home, and yeah, I think the same agenda as everyone else.
Before I ask you about the current situation and the trends you've been observing, please could you quickly walk us through the story of Plan A and the past 3 years? By the way, congratulations on your third anniversary. That was recently.
Thank you so much.
What's your mission? What are the technologies you developed in this whole fight against climate change?
So Plan A has existed for 3 years. Thank you so much for remembering about our birthday. Within these 3 years, we went through quite of an exciting journey, which allowed us to educate ourselves about the issues of climate change a lot, but also to experiment in terms of what is an effective way to engage companies and individuals in their kind of in their relationship with sustainability and response to climate change. So the first thing that we built, which was kind of the launch of Plan A and definitely my internal need for immediate impact, was a donation platform. This donation platform was somewhat successful. We managed to gather close to 1 million euros in donations for environmental organizations from all over the world. And it really connected us to a lot of people from the community that were so dedicated to the topic and were doing this with very little means, which definitely taught us about the humbleness of the community and embedded this in our mindset as we were building the company. The model was not necessarily super scalable, so we decided to focus on using the skills that we had on the team, and this was climate data science. Since after the donation platform, we built an algorithm that predicts when how climate change will hit the hardest. This algorithm helped us communicate with a lot of big corporates that essentially wanted to understand how their supply chains would be affected by climate change and how their infrastructure in different geographies would change, shift, or potentially even be harmed by the next 20-30 years of climate change. This was really exciting for us to understand better the business perspective of climate change and also to understand how companies were perceiving these risks ahead, given they were not embedded into accounting systems, they were not necessarily embedded into environmental reporting, and also exposed us to another perspective, which was kind of the short-term thinking about sustainability. And this leads us to today. A few months ago, we officially launched a software that helps companies calculate, monitor, and reduce their emissions. This is a self-service platform that can help medium and large companies to essentially analyze their data related to their behavior in terms of office, travel, commute, heating, electricity, and give them an opportunity to understand how they can improve. On a monthly basis, they get a sustainability action plan. And of course, they can offset whatever they have not been able to reduce. And this is kind of the journey for these 3 years. I definitely would say that it has been an intense one because we constantly have had the wish to reinvent ourselves and make sure that we're fully aligned to what the audience is ready for, and we kind of keep on going. It's been quite exciting, and we're super happy that there's a lot more discussion about the sustainability topic.
Yeah, also recently in the current context, there might be interesting interlinks between the COVID outbreak, the climate change, and are there any new trends that you're observing ever since the lockdown?
There's definitely a link between COVID-19 and climate change. This is quite clear. We have now entered parts of the planet which we should not have entered, and this has exposed us to risks. This has exposed us to viruses that are normally, they normally would be staying within the wildlife kingdom, but now they also are touching the human one. With regards to trends, I think the last few months have been so disturbed by this news and so focused on COVID that definitely the trendy topics have been around healthcare, have been around obviously online communication. I'm sure you and I would have been in a room, actually part of a big conference in other circumstances. And other I would say question marks related to how sustainability is going to position itself afterwards, because there's definitely the possibility of sustainability being the trend after COVID, but there's also the possibility that economic recovery becomes the only and dominant topic.
And is there a space for a sustainability conversation in this recovery topic? It sounds like there is not necessarily one.
I mean, of course there is. We have dedicated our time on building products for sustainability, and we have found the interlink between cost saving and being sustainable. So there's actually opportunities for people to embed sustainability behaviors and also save money, which at the moment is definitely going to be the focus on a company or even on an individual level. We are encouraged by the fact that 17 governments from the EU have reconfirmed their commitments to the Green New Deal for Europe. But, what we want and what these governments are confirming and what maybe we see in our field is something different than what maybe other people would want. So, there's still a big question mark.
The last software product you launched is for big companies, as far as I understood that. And you probably already have some observation on how will the whole situation impact businesses and what will be the new sustainability line of businesses.
Planning has a wide-ranging type of clients. We have companies that have 40 employees, and we have companies that have 60,000 employees. So this has definitely allowed us to understand which companies would continue with their commitments to sustainability and which maybe are going to postpone some of their commitments. On the good news is that on the corporate side, there's actually even more commitment. We see that this space and time and kind of freedom that this COVID situation has given in terms of, capacity, resources, potentially has allowed for corporates to actually put sustainability back on the agenda and to try to push it forward as quick as possible. With regards to SMEs, we have seen some deciding to postpone their sustainability commitments in terms of starting to do offsetting, starting to use tools such as the Plan A one. So I would hope that, this changes on the SME side, but we're definitely seeing immediate positive effects on the corporate side.
We've been observing this trend for years now, but probably it's accelerating now. VCs and not only are talking about the new wave of startups and ventures that will be more sustainable, that will be towards oriented towards social impact and things like that. What does it mean for your particular domain, and what are the trends you observe there?
There has been a lot of secondhand clothing, secondhand luxury product startups that have been not only popping up, but getting quite significant funding. There has been a lot of carbon offsetting. This was not necessarily as a result of COVID. It was months beforehand. In Berlin, we have seen just over the last 6 months, probably 50 new companies solely dedicated to B2B and B2C carbon offsetting. And then a third trend would be definitely kind of sustainable living products for individuals. This is definitely a domain that is gaining a lot of traction, is getting funding. This would be apps that help you embed sustainable behaviors in your day-to-day, help you track that, and also help you connect to brands that are more sustainable.
And do you see more companies, organizations, startups joining the domain you are currently active at? And do you see them as rather competitors or on the contrary?
We see a lot of movement altogether in the sustainability field. And of course, the B2B sphere is not unique by itself. We're not alone. There's companies that have been popping up over the last few months, and we are yet to find out how to analyze them. What we respect a lot is companies that follow the science, from companies that actually use these methodologies that have developed by this scientific community to allow us to then follow certain guidelines on how we can sort out the mess. So for the companies that don't follow the scientific guidance, then maybe we wouldn't consider them much of a long-term competitor. Maybe they can have some short-term gains and invest in a lot of marketing and then compensate with that. But we know that in this particular field, what matters the most is essentially being clear on your commitment to the planet before starting to think about profit, because this is not any domain. This is similar to medtech. This is something that plays with people's lives, plays with people's environment, plays with wildlife. And this is not a topic where you can just assume things. You have to really follow strictly what has been given to us as guidance and then build a company. So for these companies that are following this, we definitely respect them. And we think there's enough space for everyone.
I heard about something called the Green Tech Alliance, or am I correct? What's that?
Yeah, you heard correctly. So the Green Tech Alliance is something we set up with 5 other founders of green tech companies in effort to safeguard the community from the negative repercussions of COVID, but also from greenwashing. And what we have built is essentially a community to start with of 100 startups that are following really closely the science behind climate change. And we will connect them to another set of close to 100 advisors that are prominent VCs from Silicon Valley, top tech media, also advisors on sales, marketing, pitching. And the idea is essentially, the vision is to just push forward this community and make it even stronger, especially in the context of having now the possibility and this question mark that I was mentioning earlier of sustainability becoming a second priority, which we definitely don't want to see.
Exactly. In regards to this, what is the biggest challenge and probably what's the biggest opportunity you see for companies for in your domain, like in green tech in the post-COVID era, and probably also for other businesses, like generally?
So if I can start first with the green tech community, it's really fresh. So I think I have a lot of know-how. In order for us to onboard these 100 companies, first of all, we went through a utter process to understand their technology, to see if it's actually following the science, and to see that the founders are truly committed to planet before profit. What we noticed with their in the discussions with them was that all of them were facing challenges when it came to funding. There's still some time left until all VCs across the spectrum develop a sustainability related investment thesis. And we noticed this also in our conversations with the VCs that are on the advisory side. The other challenge that they face is related to visibility. I think the visibility issue is kind of across the spectrum. It's not specific to green tech at the moment, because of course there's now focus on the pandemic and on the different ways in which the pandemic can be addressed. And on the opportunity side, there's been a lot of collaboration wish that was not necessarily happening. And we are addressing this with, connecting all these people to one another. Because we truly believe that the more people are connected and the more of these true green startups that are so dedicated to their mission in the know of other solutions, like the solutions that are out there on the market now are going to improve because they're going to learn from each other, and they're going to be able to not have to repeat the same mistakes or the same kind of user testing processes that someone else did. So this is for the green tech startups. For other startups, there's been the unfortunate effects of COVID. One of them is, unfortunately, there's been cases also in Berlin of pulled term sheets last minute. That is quite unfortunate because it really challenges a startup to be able to go further. There's been valuations going down because of concerns that sustainability is going to become secondary. This is quote unquote what we've heard from a founder. And then other issues that I know of friends of mine that also in the US has been that they had to let go people because when all of a sudden your runway is 3 months rather than 9 months, and you know that investors are not going to all of a sudden start investing in your topic because maybe it's related to to an aspect of the economy which could be challenged by a second wave of the pandemic, you really become concerned. And I would say these has been the challenges. And on the opportunities, I think this is the moment when you start speaking to big corporates and you reach out to them because they are in front of their computers, they're in front of their LinkedIn, and they want to know how they can help. At least this is what we have seen. And I think this is really, really positive because these are economically and financially stable companies, and they can be a pillar in a more challenging moment to other stakeholders.
So if I got that correctly, you expect that there will be a wave of corporate innovation in the domain of green tech, or new corporate responsibility lines, or how did you mean that?
Yeah, at least this is what we're seeing from the companies we are in negotiations with. They are committing their time, they're putting effort into understanding how they can push forward green agendas, because when you're a big established company, you know the value also of being able to communicate results. And in order to get results related to sustainability, you need to put some frameworks and the fundament of these, building these results. So it definitely has been, what we have seen. And of course, we hope this goes across the spectrum and there's even more investment from corporates in the field.
I'm not sure whether to say that's good news or bad news, but in any case, there are opportunities, and I really hope to see more innovation in this sector, and to see more collaboration between corporates and green tech startups. I'm wishing you best of luck with the Green Tech Alliance, Lucy, and with further developing the green community and Plan A. And for everyone who wants to continue exploring uh, the new reality of tomorrow and how is this big reset going, you can register for the conference in the link underneath. Thank you, Lucy, for taking the time again, and talk to you soon.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It was a pleasure.